Okay, getting ready for round 2 with my sort of experimental list of 17 Titans. The cards that maybe are sort of the strangest I think of this is putting all my Cavernous Souls in the sideboard. I don't think that there's a lot of counter magic in the meta right now, but which is why I'm kind of using Cavern out of the main deck as one of the ways to make room for Turntimber and other things. But when you do face counter magic, you absolutely do want Cavern. You'll notice there's no Foundation Breaker or Outland Liberator, just 4 Force of Vigors. This is because we're only running 2 Forests to make room for Breeding Pool and second fetch to be able to play the second Talaria West. I don't think there's a lot of Blood Moon right now, but even if you are facing Blood Moon, there's something to be said for like sacrificing percentage points against Blood Moon to pick them up elsewhere, which I think is an okay thing to do. A lot of the Blood Moon decks I'm more afraid of are, well, I should say the Blood Moon deck I am more afraid of is Belcher, and I feel like this list is reasonably well set up against Belcher with the 4 Force of Vigor and the Ghost Quarter in the sideboard. So hoping that those are going to be, a game plan against Belcher if we face that matchup. I'm keeping this hand on the strength of how good our Boiled Grazer generally is against the different Lurrus decks. It's good against Ragavan. It's good against like Hammer as a blocker. So seeing Lurrus makes this. I mean, this hand's probably keep regardless because it's got like 2 ramp spells and a Titan. So, but especially against the Lurrus deck, this is definitely a hand I want to keep. Okay, I think I will go ahead and bounce this Forest to set up a potential Grazer plus Explore next turn. I might be getting Thought Seized, but if I am Thought Seized, I imagine they will take the Primeval Titan. And then having all the ramp intact, we can sort of just keep ramping and hopefully make our way towards, one of our other Titans in the deck. I didn't get Breeding Pool because I think my life total is more likely to matter than I am to be able to transmute this Talaria West. If I was keeping the bounce land in hand, I might have been thinking about Breeding Pool to be able to like Breeding Pool and Talaria West for the 2 blue. And I have more blue sources I can draw into, so if things shape out that way, I might transmute this eventually. But I'm more viewing this Talaria West in my hand as my second Primeval Titan rather than my first. So I imagine this Thoughtseize probably takes Primeval Titan. Could take Explorer. I wouldn't be totally shocked if it took Explorer, because Explorer is just a very efficient use of resources. So, and this matchup is a battle of efficiency. But yeah, kind of like expected outcome here. If they attack, I'll block. I don't mind if they want to throw an Unholy Heat at my Grazer. That's a fine outcome for us. Okay, so I'll explore. Okay, so 2 land drops. I guess I will play Forest. I will play Grazer. I'll get blue mana into play. And I guess I'll play Valakut so that if I draw a Titan, I can cast it. We might run into a weird situation where we don't know if we want to bounce a land to hand or play Radiant Fountain, either for the life or for the setting up for a 7-drop. So that could be a decision we have to make. Valakut is nice right now because it makes our Dryads into threats. Okay, opponent getting Delirium, probably to turn on their Unholy Heats as well as apply some pressure. I'm just going to keep blocking Ragavan. I can pretty much take 3 this entire game from this Dragon Rage Channeler without really any sort of problems. So I can just sort of block. These Grazers are for blocking Ragavans and Death Shadows. They are not for blocking Dragon Rage Channeler. Opponent definitely has an Unholy Heat. They've made that very clear. Okay, so we don't have triple green if we get up to 7 mana, which could be awkward. So there is like a thought we have 7 draws that would make us want to have that triple green. But I also kind of want to maximize my Radiant Fountain value. And if I draw a Dryad, I want to keep the bounce land in hand, even though it's probably just going to immediately eat an Unholy Heat. But, like, the ability to play Dryad and then play the bounce land, float blue mana, and transmute Talaria West for a backup Titan. Okay, so opponent's hand is likely Unholy Heat and 1 unknown. So I think I'm gonna, on the following turn, assuming I draw just like another blank land, I'm probably gonna play Celestia Sanctuary, picking up Radiant Fountain. Just keep my life total in a safe range and get my triple green ready for Turntimber or Cultivator Colossus. It's also just the most mana efficient play and the best play against Kroxa. Yeah. Take 3 every turn this whole game. Yes, so actually maybe I want to play I think I want to play this Turntimber, and then next turn I can bounce it and play it. Because if I do that, then it can't be Thoughtseize. They've already cast 2 Thoughtseizes. How likely are they to have a third? Especially with the sort of scrying they've been doing, I don't think that they would be putting a Thoughtseize on top of their library. I think I'll just play Celestia Sanctuary and bounce the Radiant Fountain. This maximizes Cultivator value, and it pads our life total. And if they discard the Turntimber Symbiosis and we draw a Titan, we can play Handwire and haste it. So there's a lot of benefits to playing this way. Worst case scenario is then just... yeah, I'm happy to see this because they put a card on top, so they're not really getting any value out of the Surveil. Sure. So they're turning on their Ragavan, but so they probably have another Unholy Heat in hand, but we're pretty resilient against Unholy Heat. If we turn Timber into a Dryad, it'll be big enough to avoid Unholy Heat. Yeah, so we're just well set up as long as this Turntimber doesn't completely whiff. Gotta make sure you cast the right side. That can really get me. Okay, probably Cultivator Colossus is better here since it's getting us to 3 non-land cards. It's worse against Dress Down, I guess, specifically, but my opponent has to specifically top deck Dress Down. What do I want to Vesuva? Maybe Radiant Fountain? If they Dress Down me... Like, I might be able to set this up... Well, honestly, I might be able to set up, like, I might just be able to, like, Summoner's Pact for an Arboreal Grazer just to play around to Dress Down since it's the only card that matters. So in that case, I probably just want this to be a Bounce Land or a Valakut. Do a Valakut. And then here I want to, I think, Summoner's Pact for Grazer. Just so that top deck Dress Down doesn't kill us. And then any land, like... I think I'm more likely to lose to top deck Dress Down than any other way of losing this game. Because if I attack with Cultivator, they're going to have to block. They don't have a lot of good removal that can take care of the Cultivator. Yeah. And if they do... we do have the Dryad as a sort of backup threat. Okay, so they don't have Dress Down in hand. They might draw Dress Down, in which case they can kill the Cultivator on our turn, but I guess if they play it in response to Dryad, then our lands won't be mountains. Yeah. Continuing our plan of taking 3 every turn for the rest of this game. Another Turntimber. I guess I'll play Dryad. And then play this. No. Kill both of these. Okay. Nice. Okay. So Grixis, Death Shadow. I want Baloth, Endurance, and Bajuka Bog. I think I can shave a Saga. Maybe even... because Saga is not great against Alpine Moon. I think I can shave a Cultivator Colossus. They do kind of take us down on resources. Maybe I'm 1 Endurance against this deck. And then... Maybe shave an amulet. Since I think I mostly want to make land drops. Maybe shave just another saga. Just really make Alpine Moon less threatening against us. Don't want to shave too many cultivators when I'm playing Turntimber. Yeah, I think 32 lands, I think that's a good amount. Baloth is nice against Kroxa specifically. I think I'm gonna mulligan that. Oof. This hand's good if we don't get turn 1 Thoughtseize taking the Turntimber. I'm gonna keep it. It's just very, very risky. And I will get rid of Azusa. Okay, we get to keep our Turntimber. Now we're in the funny position of actually hoping our opponent Kroxa's on turn 2. Kroxa and Kulligan's Command both kind of good for us with the Baloth. Fetching? Is this Kroxa? Please be Kroxa. Please, please, please be Kroxa. Okay. Well, we're well set up on ramp, and we're well set up on threats, thanks to this Turntimber. They'll probably take Dryad, which would make sense. They might take Primeval Titan if they have an answer for the Dryad. Yeah. Sensible play from our opponent. So, oh, is this another Thoughtseize? Okay. Guess we'll see what they take. Maybe Grazer. If they take Grazer, then any land is a good draw. Like any non-bounce land is a good draw because we get to power out a quick Baloth, which should like slow down aggression and buy us a lot of time. Well, not much else to do. So hopefully they don't have a third Thoughtseize because we don't want to lose this turn Symbiosis to a Thoughtseize. Dash Ragavan, okay. Doesn't really put them that much ahead on mana. I mean, they're spending 2 to get 1 for a future turn. Gruul Turf would have been a good draw for us, but oh well. Okay, let's start with Explore. Well, there's the Gruul Turf. So we could choose not to play the Gruul Turf in order to have Pact for Arboreal Grazer into Primeval Titan available. But if the amulet dies, that's pretty bad. Like, if they just do Kulligan's Command... They've seen the Baloth, so they could do, like, Kulligan's Command, destroy amulet, 2 damage to face, and then we're pretty far behind. And I guess we're just playing Baloth next turn regardless, so... I'll do it like this. Just develop mana. I think just developing mana, making land drops is a good plan in a matchup like this. Once again, our Turntimber Symbiosis is weak to a Thoughtseize, but regardless, we'll get to play out Baloth, buy ourselves some time. I guess I shouldn't F6. There's worlds in which we want a Summoner's Pact for endurance, I suppose. Thoughtseize, okay. I imagine they'll take the Turntimber Symbiosis because it's a land and a threat. We still get to play the Baloth, and we're still live to drawing bounce lands or Castle Garenbrig. Or just 2 lands. You know, buying a lot of time. We can buy time with Baloth, we can buy time with Pact for Endurance, so lots of time potentially to be bought with this hand. They take the Pact, okay. Paying 2 mana to dash Ragavan is kind of silly because it's just 2 damage, and the 2 damage is not gonna mean anything. And I'm actually happy to get that amulet off the top of our deck. This is one of the reasons I like to trim maybe an amulet in a matchup like this. I'm not going to play the Explorer. I think I want the Baloth down. They might have a Kulligan's Command or a Kroxa that we're stranding in their hand, though. That might be enough reason to play Explorer. Okay. We might ambush with Endurance this turn, depending on what they play. If they have a Terminate in hand, ambushing with Endurance here is kind of not super great, but it would get the Terminate out of their hand. They might have Drown in the Lock too, but once again we'll be getting the Drown in the Lock out of their hand. I'm just hoping I'm stranding at Kroxa or Kulligan's Command. Okay, endurance. I'm actually gonna go for myself, because I think Drown in the Lock is gonna be a problem more than Delirium. Okay. Okay, by sequencing this way, they're putting endurance back into my deck. I don't know if they're doing that intentionally or not. Hitting Delirium is bad, though. Maybe that was a reason to target them. Because now we're dead unless we draw a Grazer specifically, or Bajuka Bog, or I guess Endurance would do it. Well, it did have 3 Thought Seizes. Well, our deck loves us. Okay, so now we have a chance. They're out their Terminate. I think my plan is probably play Primeval Titan, get double bounce land, bounce Turntimber and Bajuka Bog, play Baloth, and maybe play Bajuka Bog depending on if they have, like... I guess they could have a Dress Down. If they Dress Down, we're still not dead, just dead to Dress Down. We are dead to K Command. Ragavan is a good sign for us. Possible their last card is Dress Down. Still playing Primeval Titan. Okay. We do have potentially packed for Endurance if they are threatening Delirium. If they cast a Thoughtseize, we can also pact for and fail to find. Yeah, so they actually may have punted this game by putting Endurance back into our deck. Yeah, so opponent actually punted the game by putting that Endurance back into our deck. So interesting how a little play like that, a little sequencing error, can end up making all the difference. Really close and interesting game. Yeah, happy to get 2-0 against Grixis Death Shadow. There's a chance even if we hadn't won that game 2, game 3 on the play, I think we're well set up with threat density to have a good chance against Grixis. But, yeah, fun game. All right, see everyone for the next round.